Yeah, we are the American Indians. Copper color Indians, baby. A real Indian, American Indian is me, not from Africa. Remember that.
African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But now the brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations, New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people that wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself or what you say. And a lot of people died to make it that.
Yeah. Conscious. Matic. Alright, so far away I come from. I sit and wonder about the times that it made sense, but nowadays I don't worry about what's past tense. My younger days I used to hang around with mad friends. If we just fell out, I don't really know what happened. A lot of people come around and keep you stagnant, distraction. So yeah, don't show them no compassion. We was really out here grinding, really rapping, stacking them Franklins, them Grants, and them Jacksons. Imagine if we would've never chased our passion. We probably would've never knew what happened. They was all just talk, we showed action. Once they leave, don't you let them back in. Just pack up all their stuff and send them packing. I'm blacking on anybody thinking they could act up with me. This vibe ain't for free, cause where I'm at in life, I'm only focused on me. Note the self, know yourself, focus on your health. They don't wanna help, then fuck it, do it by yourself. Don't give them no excuse to put you on the shelf. If it's me, myself, and I, then it's no one else. Yeah. Self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Yeah, practice what you preaching, but clearly they not practicing entitlement and pride. Yeah, those two things they factor in. Spiral out of control just from all the bantering. When they accustomed to talking behind your back with all that chattering, I remove myself before I abuse myself. Talk about self-love, but you gotta do it yourself. Yeah, I won't act too good for no help. We all healing now. Said some things about me that ain't true. How you feeling now? Even at my lowest, they tried to find a way to bring me down. Big y'all up for years, ain't talking just the brand or the sound. I don't throw things around, I do it from the heart proud. Mama just wanna see her sunshine, removing them dark clouds.
Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Yep. Say hey. Yes. Let me turn it off.
Yeah. Conscious.
All right, y'all. Yep, I'm going straight to it. Smash the like button, y'all. I don't care how many people watching. But what I want to get in today. Hey, y'all, Copper. Everybody watching. Shout out to everybody watching. Hey, Enoch. All right. Original Skywalker, Lily Yacht, Anthony Lowe. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody watching. And I thought today's segment would be pretty interesting. And it has to do with our people and people, period. It don't matter. How mainstream white society has bruised your head. In that Bible, in their Bible, it says, Satan will bruise your head. If you're going to bruise your head, what's in your head? Your brain. That's the bruise. Your brain. Your inability to use your power. Your inability to use your original power. Your original power is your ability to be able to manifest anything you say. So it'll happen. You can't do that when you're indoctrinated. You can't do that with a bruised head. A bruised head is your inability to be able to utilize your former power. I don't care what nobody say. And your former power has everything to do with the way you think and how you figure something out. That's your original power. Your original power, your ability to think for yourself and not be guided, has been taken away from you. Your ability to think how you originally thought, where things just happened because you made them happen, with your true ability to be able to think for yourself and not be taught and guided how you should. When you can't look outside the box, your brain is bruised. And I'm going to show you why, whether you like it or not. I don't care. You've been educated through mainstream white society. They taught you how to speak. They taught you how to think. They taught you what's true and false, what's right and wrong. Mainstream white society taught you that. You learned in their educational system. And you brothers, you paying boo-boos, Jabari, Unc, all y'all looking at their books and standing on what you learned in their book about you and your history. Your brain is bruised and you're weak. You're weak. You're weak. You're weak because you don't have, you gave away your ability to understand your own science for what it really is. You were taught their science, their methods, their way on how to figure out everything you know to be true based on their hypotheses and theories. Did you create hypotheses and theories? Someone told you how to do that and to come up with a conclusion. Mainstream white society and colleges taught you that. And you stand on it and you fight it. And if you can only see how foolish you look standing on a foreigner's science, you look like a weak fool because it says a lot about you. When you stand on mainstream white society's teachings, you're the fool, especially when it comes to creations of human beings, period. You believe you originated from monkeys because they told you based on their theories and hypotheses and finding a skeleton, a monkey skeleton. And you are bruised beyond. You can't think, Jabari, outside of your mainstream white society education. You stand on their books and you run and they run and get books and say, look, wait, who wrote that book? Excuse me, my boy wrote this book, my colleague. And he's black just like me. But guess what? That same colleague wrote his book using the methods of mainstream white society because his resources is based on theories and hypotheses. We didn't do theories and hypotheses here originally as a people. When you in your own power, you didn't have to do that. That's how weak you are when you can't step outside the box. Is when you're a weak man or weak woman. When you can't and when you don't, you stand on it. I read this. It's somebody else's shit. Why can't you come up with your own conclusions? Is it because their Bible says lean not to your own understanding? Don't make me vomit. This is what mainstream white society did to you. They made you see and believe things their way and call it the truth. So help you God. That's why you can't see who you are. That's why you don't know who you are, because they whited it out of you. And they gave you books to follow. And you follow them to the point where you don't even know who the hell you are. Have you ever sat back and thought, well, damn, they got me really believing that I'm a monkey. I believe this and I stand on it. And I have debates and arguments about me or our people originating from being monkeys. But who told you that? You learned that. You can only see the way they showed you. You won't look another way. You're too scared. And to the point where it's embarrassing. You can't think outside. You've been indoctrinated. When you can't figure something out yourself and you have to use their structured way of learning the truth and coming up with drawing a conclusion. You can't draw a conclusion without looking and believing in their science. What happened to your science? It's called natural. You remove the natural ways and replaced it with the belief of science. You're a damn fool. You let go of the natural. You removed your natural powers and gave it to mainstream white society. You've pledged an allegiance to everything that they told you. And you fight for it. You war for it. Because you believe their way. You believe their way so deeply that you can't even use your own damn brain to figure out nothing unless you're using their methods and their theories. You can't think no other way. You stand on and you fight people and you debate people. And your weapon is their theories. Their hypothesis. You stand by it because it's truth. You made yourself. You accept inferiority. You accept it. Yes, you do. You can't say you don't. Because the way you figure something out is based on science. Their science that they gave you. You don't use your own natural method of determining something. You let it go. You let it go. That's the only way you can figure something out is by their method. You made yourself inferior. I don't care how you slice it, and I don't care if you don't believe me, you did. You believe their science. I believe in natural. Yeah, I took their college. I have my master's. I have a bachelor's and associates. I have certifications. But I didn't let it take my soul. Now, let me tell you what warriors do when it comes to preventing your head from being bruised. The difference between me and you, Pam Boo Boos, you educated boulets, you scholarly people. Let me tell you the difference between me, even though I maintain the same degrees as you. I don't use it to stand on it. I challenge it. And I always win. Because I naturally see the false fallacies. Everything, I take their work. I don't need to create science. What I need to do is naturally defeat it and win and stand on what I conquer. And the way I conquer it is naturally, simply showing it to people so they can see it for their damn self. And we're going to do that. You've let mainstream white society take over your soul. Anytime you fight and stand on scientific methods, you're weak. It's either scientific or natural. Supernatural. Natural. It's either scientific, which is fake, or natural. Yeah. We're going to go through the historical foundations. We're going to go through the National Museum of African American History and Culture. The historical foundations of race. Let's read about this. I'm going to do a share screen. Let's get it in. Smash the like button. I'm serious. Let's go, y'all. Historical foundations of race. This is in the National Museum of African American History and Culture. This is how we're going to get their asses. Historical foundations of race. The term race used infrequently before the 1500s was used to identify groups of people with a kinship or group of connection. The modern day use of the term race is a human invention. The world got along without race for overwhelming majority of its history. The U.S. has never been without it. That's what this is saying. Now check this out. Race is a human invented shorthand term used to describe and categorize people into various social groups based on characteristics like skin color, physical features, and genetic heredity. Race, while not a valid biological concept, is a real social construct that gives or denies benefits and privileges. American society developed the notion of race early in its formation to justify its new economic system of capitalism, which depended on the institution of forced labor, especially the enslavement of African peoples. We gonna get there. Let's hold on, y'all. Y'all know the bullshit. To more accurately understand how race and its counterpart, racism, are woven into the very fabric of American society, we must explore the history of how race, white privilege, and anti Blackness came to be. The invention of race, the concept of race, as we understand it today, evolved alongside the formation of the United States and was deeply connected with the evolution of two other terms, white and slave. The words race, white, and slave were all used by Europeans in the 1500s. And they brought these words with them to North America. White and slave. So they're saying in the 1500s, the Europeans brought those two words to North America. White, the words race, white, and slave. However, the words did not have the meanings that they have today. Instead, the needs of developing American society would transform those words' meanings into new ideas. The term race, used infrequently before the 1500s, was used to identify groups of people with the, oh, it's saying this again. The modern day use of the term race, identifying groups of people by physical traits, appearance, or characteristics, is a human invention. We already read that. During the 17th century, that's the 1600s, European Enlightenment philosophers based their ideas on the importance of secular reasoning, rationality, and scientific study, as opposed to faith-based religious understandings of the world. Philosophers and naturalists were categorizing the word anew and extending such thinking to the people of the world. These new beliefs, which evolved starting in the late 17th century and flourished through the late 18th century, argue that there were natural laws that governed the world of human beings. Over centuries, the false notion that white people were inherently smarter, more capable, and more human than non-white people became accepted worldwide. It became accepted worldwide. You see this cracker shit? I'm going to keep going. The categorization of people became a justification for European colonization and subsequent enslavement of people from Africa. Slavery as a concept has existed for centuries. Enslaved people, slaves were forced to labor for another. We can point to use of the term slave. Okay, we can point to the use of the term slave in the Hebrew Bible, ancient societies such as Greece, Rome, and Egypt, as well as during the other eras of time. Within the Mediterranean and European regions before the 16th century, enslavement was acceptable for persons considered heathens or outside of the Christian based faiths. In this world, being a slave was for the life of hereditary, meaning the status of a slave did not automatically transfer from parent to child. In many cultures, slaves were still able to earn small wages, gather with others, marry, and potentially buy their freedom. Similarly, people of darker skin, such as people from African continent, were automatically enslaved or considered slaves. The word white held a different meaning too and transformed over time. Before the mid 1600s, there is no evidence that the English referred to themselves as being white people. This concept did not occur until 1613, when the English society first encountered and contrasted themselves against the East Indians through their colonial pursuits. Even then, there was not a large body of people who considered themselves white as we know the term today. From about the 1550s to 1600, white was exclusively used to describe elite English women because their whiteness of skin signaled that they were persons of a high social class who did not go outside to labor. However, the term white did not refer to elite English men because the idea that men did not leave their homes to work could signal that they were lazy, sick, or unproductive. Initially, the racial identity of white referred to only Anglo-Saxon people and has changed due to time and geography. As the concept of being white evolved, the number of people considered white would grow as people wanted to push back against the increasing numbers of people of color due to the emancipation and immigration. Activist Paul Kibble says whiteness is a constantly shifting boundary, separating those who are entitled to have certain privileges from those whose exploitation and vulnerability to violence is justified by their not being white. We're talking about people whose kids bombed up schools and stuff. You know, they're just like privileged because they don't do horrible things. Let me stop. European colonists' use of the word white to refer to people who look like themselves. European colonists use the word white to refer to people who look like themselves, grew to become entangled with the word race and slave in the American colonies in the 1660s. These elite created races of savage Indians, subhuman Africans, and white men, which is a fucking lie. We're going to keep going. The social inventions succeeded in uniting the white colonists, dispossessing, and marginalizing native people, and permanently enslaving most African descended people for generations. Yo, we gonna get this shit in. We gonna bust their ass. Tragically, American culture from every beginning developed around the idea of race and racism. The racial identity of white was evolved throughout history. Initially, it referred only to, we already read that. So you see this shit, the little bull crap. We're going to keep going, y'all. Historical evolution of race. Now, these are slaves waiting for sale in Richmond, Virginia in 1861. Now, I'm going to tell you that these are Indians who were pushed off their land and enslaved as what they did to the Pequots here in the North. Let me take this thing down. We're going to get it in, y'all. Let me take this little thing down. Oh God, how do I? Where? Jeez, why can't I? Oh my God! All right, all right. Here we go. Back to where we was, y'all. Let me get there. Hang on. We're almost finished. We only got like a paragraph to go. Now, what you got to understand in Virginia in 1861, you better believe to the core of your being. This is in 1861, prior to the Civil War, or during it, basically. These are Indians who were pushed off their land in Virginia and to be enslaved like they did with the Pequots in the north. And you better believe that, because we going in. Historical evolution of race and racism in colonial. Oh, wait a minute. No. I don't even think I need to read any of this. Let's get it in. The hell with this. Now, they're telling you, we read here in this African museum bullshit that that this African slave, white enslaved African was not used until the 17th century. Or so now let's go there. Let's just stop for a minute. Now we're gonna get in. I read all that museum lie bullshit, which is why we need to be suing the damn museums for false documentation. Now I'm gonna take you to something else that I just took some little notes on. Hang on, y'all. Hold tight. I'm gonna tell you they wasn't using no goddamn Africa back then, and I'm gonna show you why they wasn't. Let me do this damn share screen. Oh God, where are you? All right, where? Let's get there. These little lion dogs. All right, let's go. I'm gonna try and make this as big as I can. View zoom. It's at 155. That's about as big as I can get it, y'all. For real, for real. All right, so here we go. Listen to all this bullshit, these notes. This is why I said you got to think outside of their indoctrination, or you will be powerless and weak forever. When you have to use mainstream white society to justify your truth, your brain is abused. Your truth is your natural truth. And you don't need hypothesis and science and theories to stand on your truth. Unbruise your brain. The origin, now look at all this different bullshit I pulled out. The origin of the name Africa is greatly disputed by scholars. Most believe it stems from the word used by the Phoenicians, Greeks, and Romans. Important words include the Egyptian word Africa, meaning motherland, the Greek word Afrique, meaning without cold, and the Latin word Aprica, meaning sunny. According to history scholars, the name Africa came into existence in the late 17th century. That's according to scholars. The name Africa came into existence in the late 17th century. The name was initially used only to refer to the northern parts of Africa. The northern parts of Africa. It came into existence in the late 17th century. That's according to history scholars. So if you're saying the late 1700s, you're saying the late 1600s. Now you get into the history of Africa begins with the emergence of hominids, archaic humans, and around 300,000 to 250,000 years ago. I thought Africa didn't come in existence until the goddamn 17th century, which is what it really did, because it wasn't called Africa. That was not the name. Anonymically, modern humans, Homo sapiens, in East Africa and continues unbroken into the present as a patchwork of diverse and politically developing nation states. Now, when you go and you ask the system, this is the bullshit. What was the name of Africa before it was called Africa? Alkebulan. Alkebulan, the ancient name for Africa. One of the earliest recorded names associated with the African continent is Alkebulan, derived from Arabic and various indigenous African languages. Alkebulan translates to the land of the blacks or the mother of mankind. The Alkebulan was the original name. How did Africa get its name? The name had usually been connected with the Phoenician word afar, meaning dust, but a 1981 hypothesis, okay? Hypothesis has asserted that it stems from the Berber or Efri, plural Ephraim, meaning cave, in reference to cave dwellers. So who dwelled in the goddamn caves? I ain't finished. What was Africa called in 1492? Alkebulan. According to experts that research the history of the African continent, the original ancient name was Alkebulan. So in 1492, it was called Alkebulan. So Africa's a new damn word. You better believe it is. The shit didn't exist. Now, my point that I'm making. Oh, where is it? What is going on here? My point that I'm making here today, and we're going to go through it. Ain't no way in the hell in the 1400s, the 1500s, the 1600s, the 1700s, we were not identified as blacks. That word was not used. I hope you understand that. Black was not used as a race. We were not that. All the census sheets are reconstructed records. When the Europeans arrived here, it was just the Europeans and the Indians. There weren't black people here. That terminology was not used. They came here. It was the Aboriginal people here that was here when they came. There was no racial identification of black people. So if there was no racial identification of black people, how are you going to put them on census sheets when it didn't exist at the time you did all the census sheets? Black was not a classification or an identification. So how are you going to put that down on census sheets when it wasn't a, who the people were? Let's go. Let me pull this up. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Hang on, y'all. Here we go. So look at this, y'all. Look at the census sheet. All right. Here's the trickery shit. Now, I showed y'all this yesterday. This is the 1850 census. This is during slavery time. There's nothing in here that says race. I want y'all to understand that. Look at this heading right here. I'm gonna make it bigger. Here's the headers of the columns. Okay. Could y'all see that? Description. You have to give a description of the people you saw in a household. You got the age, the sex. Look here, y'all. They have color, 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 not race. There's nothing in that box that says race, RACE. Give me a 1 if you see that. I need more 1s. There was no racial classification. Good. Look at this. See, our people don't look. Let me tell you what throws you off. We're looking. There's nothing in here that says race. Nothing. When the census takers went around, they needed to know this box is it does not mean that you are your race was black. There was no racial classification. It's age, sex, and color. They needed a description, not a racial identity. I'm telling you what I know. You were either, they want to know if you had white skin, black skin, or mulatto. Black and white looking like mixed. All mulatto meant was mixed. So age, sex, and color. You see, they left out all the white people. Now, see, look at the, oh, y'all can't see this database. Oh, yes, you can. Now, look at the column headings of Ancestry's database. What do you see? Write the 3 things you see. Up there at the top of number 4, what does that say? Above number 4, the heading, the column heading of 4, 5, and 6. No, what are the column headings? It should say age, sex, and race. Give me a one that y'all see though. Of the column heading of number 4 is age. The column heading of number 5 is sex. And the column heading of number 6 is race. Age, sex, and race. Y'all can't see that up above there? Age, sex, and race. Oh, it's blurry. All right. That's because I was trying to make it smaller. Can you see it now? Age, sex, and race. I'm a screenshot this shit. You can't make this shit up. All right, now I'm gonna do a share screen. Hang on, y'all. Hang on, I'm a screen share. This is important, y'all. This is so important. Hang on. Let me do this damn share screen. Get your butt out of here. Okay, YouTube acting stupid with me. Share screen. All right, where's my little thingy here? Where the hell is it? Oh, here it is. All right, can y'all see this? Let me see. Where y'all go? Okay. Oh, now you see it. You see ancestries on a gray line. Age, sex, race. But what about now? Now you should be able to see it. Right up above it, it says age, sex, and race. This is what ancestry says. Good. Age, sex, race. That is not what the government said. That's ancestry's bullshit. Ancestry made it a race, not the government. All the government want was a description of who the people were in the house and the color. They wanted to know the color of the people, not the race. Now, hold on. Let me get this down. Now let's go back. Should be here now. All right. Now we're back. Now look at this. I'll make it bigger. I'm going to make it bigger. Let's get back here. Jesus. Is it shared? Did I share it? Oh my goodness, it's not sharing. My dumb self. There it goes. There we go. Now look, the government wanted to know what color the people are. This 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 color, sex, and age. They wanted to know if you had white skin, black skin, or if you were mulatto. That color is not race. That's just color. Has nothing to do with race. Ancestry made it a race thing. Back then, we're talking 1850. Now look, they did not ancestry. This is a white person. All the white people, they would not list them. They just gave their age and sex. They didn't give their color. Now look, black, black. This is their color, black. They wanted to figure out, see how many blacks there were. Your color, black. That's all that is, black. They separate them from the white people that lived on the same street. You see that? Now they tally them up on the bottom. Yep, there's the fraud. There was no race on the census. Don't confuse that with ancestry. This is right here. This are the column headings, not ancestry's column headings. Now, we're going to switch to the 1860. Let me know. I hope it switches over. I don't know how Brother Sanchez be doing that shit. This is 10 years later. Here we go. 1860. 10 years later. All right. No white people. They wouldn't list the white people's names. But they're there. If you see the little thing, it's going to say they're white. That's Ancestry's database that says they're white. Ancestry's database. Now, if you look at it, see how Ancestry now their column is right? Look at Ancestry's column now. Now it got color, sex. See? Age, sex, and color. Now look at the heading. It says age, sex, and color now. Aligned with what the government wanted. B, 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 M. None of the white people. Now it aligns. Now look at the bottom. Back then, it wasn't no black. If you look at the bottom, number of colored males, 4. Number of colored females, 6. Number of white males, 15. There were no blacks. There were no blacks. Those columns should have matched what it says on the volume. They're tallying up all the colored people. Colored. Now, in reading that museum's history, why is African or Alkebulan not listed on this goddamn census sheet under color? How come they don't have African? How come it doesn't say number of African people? Number of African males, number of African females. How come it doesn't say that, y'all? In 1860. How come? Can you explain to me why? Please explain to me why it doesn't say African. How are you going to prove that you are African? Africa. And that's all the way throughout the census, up to including this date. Even on the last census sheet, the 1860, the 1850, the 1860, and even the 1790, the 1850, the 1860, the 1870, the 1880 census, the 1890 census, the 1900 census. None of the census sheets, not once, said Africa. The headings ask what color were the people. The Reconstruction census said put all B's in there for the people that had brown skin. The bottom of the census sheet, how many coloreds? How many coloreds? The government saw us as coloreds, not Africans. They said, how many colored males? How many colored females? Why didn't the government say how many Africans? Count up how many Africans there are. It does. It does in those times, Copper. Sorry. How many? The governor did not identify Africans on any of the censuses. The government asked, how many coloreds are there? How many colored males are there? How many colored females are there? Why wouldn't the government say, how many Africans are on there? because there were no Africans in 1790 census. (1800) census, no Africans. 1810 census, 1820 census, 1830 census, 1840 census, 1850 census, 1860 census, 1870 census, 1880 census, 1890 census, 1900 census, 1910 census. When the fuck were the Africans going to be here? The only white race, as it says, are the Anglo-Saxons that was over here. And colored. Correct. Color is written, not race. All the colored people on those census sheets were the copper colored races found here by the Europeans. That's why they were called colored. They were the enslaved Aboriginals. Just like they did to the Pequots in the north. There is no Negro census, bruh. No. Not one census says Negro. They all, you were either colored or white over here. Negro. There weren't even Negro troops. They were colored troops. They didn't become Negro until way later. I'm about to show you that. Hold on. Give me a minute. Now, oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Let me show you this. Just so you know, ancestry's bullshit versus theirs. This is ancestry's database as it pertains to this census sheet. See, there you see gender, race, age. Ancestry put that. Ancestry made it a black race, not the government. The government said, what color? So let me stop sharing that. I want to get something else. Hang on, y'all. Oh, I'm going there. I'm not playing with these damn people. Um, Here we go. Let's go. Here we go. Now I'm going to show you. During the Civil War, here we go. U.S. colored troops military service records from 1863 to 1865. Excuse me. Colored troops. Here we go. Moses Fisher appears with rank of private on muster and descriptive roll of detachment of U.S. volumes forwarded for the 33rd Regiment of United States Colored Infantry. Roll dated Savannah, Georgia, May 3rd, 1865. Born in Washington, Georgia. 35 years old. Laborer. Enlisted April 17th, 1865. Okay? For a period of 3 years. His eyes were black. His hair was black. His complexion was black. Not his race, his complexion. His height, 5'7". Mustered in May 3rd, 1865. Now, my question to you, why did they not list him as the African soldier? Colored. He's colored. These are the colored troops, not the African troops. Why? There's something wrong here. You see it. It tells you up here at the top. 33rd United States Colored Troops. United States Colored Troops. That's what USCT stands for. Now, why? Why were these men not listed as Africans? Why didn't they list them as Africans? Why didn't the federal government? Why did the military not list them as Africans? Why weren't they registered as Africans? Can you please explain that? Why were they colored troops? There was no colored census. I mean, there was a colored census because the federal government said, please count up all the colored. Remember, those census sheets were supposed to say C on them, the letter C. Why are you counting up all B's? It said count up all the coloreds. Who told the Reconstruction people that reconstructed those census sheets to write the letter B? When the federal government said count up all the colored troops, count up all the coloreds. How many colored males? How many colored females? Not African or blacks. Somebody's out of order. Who did that? The bottom of the sheet says, count all the colors. Why did the agent, a census taker, put all B's instead of C's? Why are the none, and I mean none of the militia records for registered Africans? They were either colored troops or white. In the South and the North. So how do you get a whole African history about colored people? Because they had to say that they were colored. Wait a minute. Now, way later. Now that's in 18. I showed you the 1850 census, the 1860 census, the 1870 census say the same shit. Now we get to this. Let me do a share screen. A whole hot damn mess. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my document? All right. I got to go back to you guys. Oh. Let's try this again. It should be up. Where's my document? It should be right here. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now, this is as big as I can get this. In 1924, in charge of the state's vital statistics records, employed the law to classify all Virginians. Okay, this is in Virginia now, but he later convinces all the other states. You gonna hear it. You were either white or colored in Virginia, and to classify the state's Indian as colored too. White or colored. You were either white or colored. Plecker believed that some Negroes were attempting to pass as Indians. How could a Negro not pass as Indian? Because at that time, you went from being colored to Negro. You went from being colored to Negro. Indian, Negro, and colored. Because they had the Indian Baseball League. Don't forget. And then they changed it to the Negro League. It went from being the Indian League to the Negro League. Give me a 1 if you know that. Give me a 1 if you know that it was Indian League first and then it went to Negro League. I got it. I showed it to you. Give me a 1. Baseball was Indian League. And then it went from being the Indian League to the Negro League. So you went from being Indians to Negroes because it was the Indian League first. And then it went to the Negro League. Don't even play with me. They changed your classification from Indian to Negro because they did it to the damn baseball team. Don't play with me. I have the records. I have it. Where they literally changed the Indian Baseball League to the Negro Baseball League. You went from being Indians to Negroes. In Virginia, you went from being Indians to coloreds. In the United States, you went from being Indians to Negroes. Give me a 1. Used to be the Indian Hall of Fame, and that's right, and it went to the Negro Hall of Fame. In the United States government, you went from being Indians to Negroes. In Virginia, you went from being Indians to coloreds. And then after the war, they threatened you once they conquered your land. Now watch this. In charge of the state's vital statistics records, employed the law to classify all Virginians as white or colored, and to classify the state's Indians as colored. White or colored. That's what you was. Virginia only wanted 2 races, white and colored. So on that note, classify all the Indians as colored. That's what he said. That's what he did. They only wanted, because all was in Virginia was either whites or Indians. That's all that was in Virginia, was whites or Indians. You know the story. They told you they only had 20 Africans. 20 Africans. So Virginia said, we only want 2 races of people. White or colored. So you classify all the Indians got to be colored. Plecker believed that some Negroes were attempting to pass as Indians and feared that Indians would attempt to pass as white. Now, wait a minute here. Wait a minute here, buddy. Got your ass, Plecker. The white people who stole the land decided that they was going to be the Indians. He obsessively documented each and every birth and marriage registration submitted to his agency and manipulated and distorted records to show that the genealogical heritage of Virginia's Indians was so intermixed with Virginia's Negroes, that no real Indians exist. Plecker's obsession with racial integrity. See, the problem was he didn't want mulattoes. He didn't want them. See, in Virginia, they saw the Indian as the mulatto person, the ones that looked white. And because they had some Negro blood in them, he said, no, all y'all gonna be coloreds. The mulattoes in Virginia were considered the Indians. That's what they stomached. They hated the fact that the coloreds in Virginia were the Indians. Those were the Indians. So when a white person did the nasty with a colored, they became the Indian. Because you could get the land, do the nasty with the colored people, and then the man will be able to get the land. So then he got nasty and said, he didn't want no mulattoes, no Indians. Indian and mulatto was interchangeably in Virginia. Plecker's obsession with the Racial Integrity Act is well in evidence in December 1943 letter and a list of the surnames by county of families that he believed were trying to pass for white or Indian. As State Register of Vital Statistics, he wrote that many letters and directives to the county officials about specific individuals whom he felt were trying to pass as white. A lot of mulattoes wanted to be classified as white because they have more white features, and he didn't care if you had more of your white European features. You had that Negro blood in you, and you are Indian. You are a colored. He often asked for evidence from the county clerk to prove the people in question were colored. Plecker also regularly sent out alerts to the county officials, hospitals, doctors, midwives, and other healthcare workers and record keepers about families that he considered suspect. He instructed that these families were not to be allowed to be listed as white in any record or to be treated as a white in any way, including attendance at white schools. The Racial Integrity Act of 1924 recognized only two races, white and colored. So if your ass was a mulatto, even if you had more of your white features, you were deemed a colored because you had one drop of Negro blood in you, Indian blood in you, colored blood. You had one drop of colored blood, you was now a colored. The act required that a racial description of every person be reported at birth and made marriage between white persons and non-white persons a felony. Damn, it was a felony. Plecker developed the racial criteria behind the act and adhered strictly to the one drop rule, a historical term originating in the South that holds that a person with any trace of African ancestry is considered black. Yo, check that shit out. You in 1924 gonna say this shit with your little made up stories. African ancestry. What a fucking joke. And the way back then, because they didn't do blood tests in 1924. Back then, it's just if your skin was brown, oh, you're from Africa, some goddamn where. The arrogance of that. They made you say, really, literally, say that you were black. You could not say it. You could not say that you was the Indian. You had to say you was black so they could take your damn land. And Negro. And you had to say that. Black, Negro, and colored, so that they could take your land. The settlers could get your land. You could not say you were Indian. That's why. Now, here's what he did. Plecker's policies. This isn't a law, it was a policy. It was passed in their General Assembly, but it was his policy. His policies pressured state agencies to reclassify most citizens claiming Indian identity as colored in spite of a 1930 amendment to the Racial Integrity Act that restored the legal status of some Virginia Indians, but only the ones who lived on the reservations. If your ass didn't live on the reservation, you were a colored. Plecker nevertheless believed, this is what he believed, not the government. Plecker nevertheless believed that they also had African ancestry. Listen, honey. So now you know when you look at you have to look at the census sheets a whole nother way. The government took your identity and made you colored. On their census sheets, their records count all the colored males, all the colored females. Ancestry made you think that they called you black in 1850, 1860, 1870, on all the census sheets. Not one census sheet said white, black. No. Because the government saw you as colored. You went from being Indian. Even the government was convinced. The government already automatically saw you as colored. They never saw you as black. The government, military saw you as colored. At what point were you ever African? The slaves, Indians. You went from Indian to colored. The slaves was colored. You went from being Indians to colored. Colored. The government never classified you as Africans. When they wanted to take their land, your land, they made you colored. When they conquered your land and enslaved you, they made you colored. You weren't allowed to say you were Indian. The government has exactly what it did to you on their census sheets. Colored. Somebody reconstructured the census sheets and put B down there. The bottom where the government acts, count up all the coloreds. He didn't say count up all the blacks. He said count up all the coloreds. Count up all the whites. You need to open your eyes and stop letting people teach you your history and saying what the government said, because the sheet is official. The government said count up all the colors. It didn't say count up all the blacks, but yet they put black on the sheet. Not the government, the census takers. Reconstructured. What does reconstructured census sheets mean? What does reconstructured mean? Period. Understand this. I'm going to show it to you right here. Those are reconstructed census sheets. Why? Because they put B on it. And it tells you that those census sheets are reconstructed. Let's look. Understand. Reconstruction. To construct again. That's how it's defined. To construct again. Rebuild. Make over. The church was burned in 1895, but reconstruction in 1897 to recreate in the mind from given or available information. Reconstruct. Those census sheets are reconstructed sheets, and it tells you that. They made them over. They recreated them from what they originally were. Smash that like button, y'all. You went from Indian to colored. You went from Indian to Negro. Indian Baseball League consisted of Negroes, brown people, and they changed it to the Negro League, Baseball League. Now, let's go to it. Oh, where did it go? Why did they take that? Here we go. Negro Baseball League. Octavius Cotto. I showed this already on my channel. These are all Negro Baseball League. Here you go. Now, in 1924, the the 1924 Colored World Series. Colored. 1924. Colored. Y'all see that? Gibson Fire. These damn Indians. 1924 Colored World Series. That's all she wrote. You now understand that you really have to and you must step out of the indoctrination. The Indian League, I'll pull those out later. I gave those about a year or two ago. I showed the Indian League. It went from the Indian League to the Negro League because you were changed from Indian to Negro. And then you went from Indian colored Negro. Indian to colored to Negro. Not African, from Indian to colored to Negro. Africa never was the play. Even the slaves, that the enslaved Indians, they called them colored. When they took their identity. So now you know that you now have to look at the census sheets in a whole different way. Because they never classified you on the census sheets. It was what color were you? They wanted to know your color. Your mind was being fed that you thought that it was race up there. No, it was not. It was never race on the census. It was what color was the people? They wanted to know what color you were. So the government said they were supposed to put a C, not no damn B. Because at the bottom it says count up all the colors. So now you have to look at the census sheet for what the government was really asking and not what you was guided to by ancestry. And those were ancestry's headings, not the government's. But on the actual census sheet, let's look at the real shit now. Back then, the government wasn't asking for your race. They wanted to know what color you were. What's your skin color? You was either black or white. Oh no, you was even colored. I'm sorry, even I said it. You was either colored or white. At the bottom, it clearly said, the government said, count up all the colors. Count all the colors up. Not count all the Africans. It said, count up all the whites. Count up all the colors. You were made to believe that it was all black people. Nope, it was coloreds during those times, not even black. So now you look at those census sheets for what they really are and who your ancestors were. You're not going to be able to prove that you're from Africa because you're not. The census sheets don't help you prove that you're African, but they damn sure let you know you're Indian. I'll be right back, y'all, because we know what you did to the Indians. My little break, and I'm going to put the link in the chat.
Matic. Alright, so far away I come from. I sit and wonder about the times that it made sense, but nowadays I don't worry about what's past tense. My younger days I used to hang around with mad friends. If we just fell out, I don't really know what happened. A lot of people come around and keep you stagnant, distraction. So you don't show them no compassion. We was really out here grinding, really rapping, stacking them Franklins, them Grants and them Jacksons. Imagine if we would've never chased our passion. We probably would've never knew what happened. They was all just talk, we showed action. Once they leave, don't you let them back in. Just pack up all their stuff and send them packing. I'm blacking on anybody thinking they could act up with me. This vibe ain't for free, cause where I'm at in life, I'm only focused on me. Note the self, know yourself, focus on your health. They don't wanna help, then fuck it, do it by yourself. Don't give them no excuse to put you on the shelf. If it's me, myself, and I, then it's no one else. Yeah. Self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Yeah, practice what you preaching, but clearly they not practicing entitlement and pride. Yeah, those two things they factor in. Spiral out of control just from all the bantering. When they accustomed to talking behind your back with all that chattering. I remove myself before I abuse myself. Talk about self-love, but you gotta do it yourself. Yeah, I won't act too good for no help. We all healing now. Said some things about me that ain't true. How you feeling now? Even at my lowest, they tried to find a way to bring me down. Big y'all up for years, ain't talking just the brand or the sound. I don't throw things around, I do it from the heart proud. Mama just wanna see her sunshine, removing them dark clouds.
Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
So there it is, y'all. At the bottom of that census sheet, it says number of colored males, number of colored females, not black, number of black males, number of black females, number of colored males. The government was understanding you and made you to be colored. After they took your land, you were colored. And when they first arrived here, you were copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. You know that. Hell, the government remembered you as who you were when you came here. You were copper colored. Let's not play these games. Let's not do it. Who's the real American? Originally, a native of America, originally applied to the aboriginals, or copper colored races. You're colored. Count up all the colored on the goddamn census sheet. Because you were the ones that was found here by the Europeans. So the same Europeans are saying, count up all the colors. They just, they just took off the goddamn copper. Count up all the colors. I'm colored. I'm colored. I'm colored. I's colored. I's colored. Oh, so I put the link in. Y'all got any questions? Do you understand that now you got to look at the census sheet for what it really is? Smash the like button, please, y'all. Now, when you look at those census sheets, you really got to say, well, damn, I thought race was up there. And it's really not, because it's not. We're talking 1865, 1860, before even slavery was over. When you were head of the household colored, you were colored. It should have been seized to match with the government. Was trying to get a count of. But somebody's ass reconstructed it and put black. B, B, B. I don't have black skin. My extension braids is black. My skin is colored. Right. They wanted to know your color, not your race. There was no racial classification. It was just, what color were you? You couldn't say during that time because, see, the 1860, they had already did this shit in the north to the Pequots and all the Indians that was in the north. The Iroquois, the Confederacy, they did this shit to the Indians already in the north. Now we in the south. Y'all's turn. You cannot say the Indian you were. So if you were a Kookapu Indian, you couldn't say that. You couldn't say it. You were colored. You were a colored. Noble Bigby, I bet you couldn't say that in 1865 on them census sheets. You was a colored. You weren't allowed to say that's who you were. I know you know who you are, but you couldn't say that. Not in 1860, not in 1865. You was threatened. You were killed if you said the Indian you were. Mm. So I'll wait a few more minutes. Nobody got any questions. I'm gonna get up out of here. But I just wanted today You must look at them census sheets a whole different way now. It's a whole new ball game. On the census sheet, you're colored. That's what the Indians were, coloreds. They went from being Indians to coloreds. The government made you coloreds. Coloreds. I mean, in the 1860s, the late 1800s, the senators, these guys, come on, y'all, all these guys, General Assembly, they were listed as coloreds. You was either colored on that General Assembly or you were white. This is how you know the census sheets are right and how the government defines you. When you assimilated into this corporation and became part of its system, you became a colored. You put a suit on. You took your feathers off. You became in the General Assembly as colored. As colored now. As colored. The government say as colored. As colored. As colored now. That's what you were. 1790 Reconstruction Census. 1800, 1810, 1820, 1830, 1840, 1850, 1860, 1870, 1880, 1890. All colors. Up. Malcolm X and them is all up in here. No, but you're a Negro now. No more Indian League. It's the Negro League. Boom, here comes this uprising of Negroes. All the way up to me. 1960s. Negroes on birth certificates. My mama was. Was. Yeah. You couldn't be who you were. I was colored. So nobody has any questions. I'm gathering. I still have time to run to the store and get me some chocolate chip cookies. Oh, yes, honey. Abdallah, we are very clear on who the American is. Me, as colored. Okay? Like buckwheat. Okay. You got that right. As colored. Okay? Oh, you can look that up anywhere. The Indian League, Baseball League. You know who know a lot about that? Chief Holiday. He the one who originally brought it up. From where the first person I heard reading about it. And I went and found that shit and pulled up all them Indians. Let me see if I still got him in here. I probably took him out. And I always do that. Let me see. I have my old slides when I had them. I don't. I My old slides are. I have to go back in my drives and get them because I don't have my old slides with me. Um, Let me see if I can look in my old disc. I did a whole list of all of them. Here we go. Here we go. Um. Uh. Let me see if I could print this. Here's the Indian Baseball League. Indians of baseball. Here we go. They look like mixed breeds, some of them. But wait a minute. Let me stop that one and get this one. Uh, oh. Let me see if I could get this one. Oh, I think I might have it. Now they painted them all white. I got the old black pictures of the brown guys, all the Indians that were brown. It was changed. I got them. Luckily, I saved them. See, they took them down because we was busting their asses. Um, I don't even see the. Yeah, we was busting their asses. Back then, and they took it down. But luckily I saved everything, so I'll pull it out my old files and show you the whole baseball team. Uh no, that's not it. Um, the old days. See, they tried to change this shit to Native American baseball, which is bullshit. It was the Indian League. I got it though. Luckily, I saved it. Oh my goodness, that's why I'm so glad I saved it, because we knew that they would take it off of the internet because they knew that we would come back. But I think this was it. Is this it? The old picture? It used to be the Indian League, and I had the pictures up, and they changed it to the Negro Baseball League. They changed it. It used to be Indian, but I saved the old thing, so I'll go back and I'll go and find it. But here we go. It was Indian way back when. See, these are the old ones. Back during these days, when you see these old looking pictures, it was originally called the Indian Baseball League. And I got to go pull my old slides because the old slides have it. In the 1900s, it became the Negro League. But prior to that, it was the Indian League, Indian Baseball League. And they took it down because they knew we got them. Let me see. Yeah, they took it down, but I got it saved. So we still got their ass. They could take it down all they want because we saved all the slides from when it said Indian. And these players that you see during these days, it was the Indian League. They was Indians, all of them. And they changed it from the Indian League to the Negro League. Yep, that's what they did. I just, yeah, they took it down. But curse be them, because we saved it. I'm so glad I saved it. Oh, I'm so glad I saved it. But I'll look for it tomorrow. I'll look for it tomorrow. Put that on my agenda to look up. So so you can understand this government identified you as colored back in the 1860s. on the census sheet, and um, that was when it really, when the ball game really went rolling. For it took the biggest left turn ever, and let me see, is this it? What am I looking for? No, 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 no. Um, where'd it go? Where the hell did it go? There it is. See, here in the Civil War. Oh, damn. Why is this up? I hate that shit. I don't know who the hell you is, Abdullah, but you need to go here with that bullshit. Ain't nothing in here recognizing you as that. Sorry. The Civil War. See, 1861 to 1865. I showed you the 1860 census. I showed you the 1850 census and how the governor was playing you. But we got their little dusty butts. We got them. And we got them good. You saw what you went to. It is what it is. So I'm going to get out of here, you guys. That's all I have. That's all I have. But now you know. Now you could go back and really look at them damn census sheets. Go back and look at all the census sheets you pulled on your families and look at the bottom. My name is spelled Bethy, Lex. What do you want? I'll put the link in the chat. Because now you got to look at the census sheet a whole new way. Hey, Lex, if the government, if you was African, how come on those census sheets you wasn't listed as an African? How come at the bottom it said colored, not Africans? You gonna learn. We ain't no damn Africans. You African, they would have put a big ass A, Alkebulan. They'd have put a big ass A on the census sheet state because that's not who you were. When the North came to the South and they trooped down there, all the troops, when they trooped up from the North to the South, you better believe there was a bunch of Negroes. Well, at that time, they were colored troops. Because in the South, it was the colored troop. And my grandfather was in the Confederate. He was Georgia. He was a colored troop infantry. That was Confederate. Uh-oh, Lex. Turn your camera on for 1 second, Lex, by your back there. I want to make sure it's you and not Rob Noxious, who likes to come up here and flash around little guys' pee-pees. Okay, you can turn it off. So it took troops from the North. They came up to the South gangster, and that's how they won the war. For real. Remember, the Tuscaroras joined the Air Cross Confederacy. You got to know that. And they're from the South. The Tuscaroras, they were the last ones to join the Air Cross Confederacy. They was from the South. And then there, after that war, that's when you got a lot of a big migration from the South. They was all under the Tuscaroras because they joined the Air Cross Confederacy, and a lot of them moved to the eastern states. What happened? I just seen Lux. Well, that's a beautiful thing. Let me know when you get it, Chris, because that's the fair thing to do. We need to do our declarations. Our story is clear. You can prove that you Indian, but you can't prove that you was African. None of them stupid fools. I told you their heads are bruised. Even on the census sheet, they going around getting books and stories and reading them on Sinetta channel. That shit is funny as hell, yo. When they be doing that, and when Jabari be jumping up, running to go get one of his colleagues' books, I'm like, yo, it's not about your colleagues' books. The government got this shit on you. Look at the bottom. You a color. You ain't no African. They didn't call you African because that's not who you was. They knew you wasn't African. They knew you were the one. There was only certain people pushed off the land. Lex, is that you? Real quick, Lex, because you fell off. Let me see you, Lex. I know how he like to play games. Okay, you can turn it on. Add to stream. Come on, why you not going up there? Oh, there you go. Yep, you the back. Why you keep? All right, Lex.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you loud as hell.
Hey,
What, Lex? Oh, I know you're coming to start trouble. Go
no,
ahead.
I just come to say hi, see how you doing. I was just chilling,
Did you
listening.
watch the whole segment?
No. I just kind of came in the last like 5-10 minutes. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
well, you should have saw the last 5 or 10 minutes because back in 1850, this government saw you as colors. They didn't see you as Africans. Why is it that the government didn't put African on the census sheets when they was identifying you?
I don't know. That's a good question, Betty. They called colored was the status they wanted to give us.
It wasn't a status. There was a racial. It was a racial classification on marriage certificates and death certificates on our ancestors. Because I have that on my grandmother's death and birth certificate. She was racially classified as a colored. Now on the census sheet, you were considered a colored in 1850. You weren't. Why didn't they make them Africans? That is slavery times. Why?
I don't know. I don't know. Um, they label Indians colors too, didn't
Yep. That's what you went from Indian to colored.
they? Okay. Well, I'm an Indian then.
You know damn well you is. Don't start with me, Lex. Because look, this is the bottom. Look at this is the bottom of the census sheet. The government said number of colored males. This is 1850. Let me see. Um, in 1860, in the South, the colored troops. Why didn't they call them African troops? He done fell off again. Y'all Negroes be having some bad Wi-Fi. Spend a little extra money to get. I know who the American is. We are. We're the Americans. I know that. I don't need help with that. The Americans is us. Oh, there you go. Look,
Sorry, I'm driving. I keep falling off.
oh
Those
look,
are
I want to show
questions.
you something. I want to show you something. Since you said you came in the last 5 minutes. Up here, This is the sheet. Don't pay attention to this. This is ancestry shit up here. That's ancestry. The actual Kayyam heading. Look what the actual Kayyam heading says. It does not say race. It just wants to know your color. You're either black, white, or mulatto. There's nothing on there on the census sheet that says race. They wanted a description of the people. Your color.
Did they have the classification European? I mean, they call Europeans white. So
No, the color of your skin. That's all they wanted was your color. You were either white or black or mulatto. Mulatto means mixed.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, on this, it has nothing of race. It would have wrote the word race. But ancestry, look at ancestry. If you go back, ancestry puts the race. Look. Ancestry put the Kayyam heading as race. Look. White. Now look in here. Somebody put black. Is these people black or white? See, race, white. Why they write black in there?
Mm.
And then you look at the damn census. See, and this is Ancestry's database. This is what they wrote. They wrote race right there. That ain't got nothing to do with the actual census sheet. I'm going to pull it up. Now look. Watch this. Nothing to do with race on the federal government. See, Ancestry put this up here. That's Ancestry's database. They put, now see, this one they got color. The other one, they had race. Look at color. And so down here at the bottom, see how they put all the list of all the black people? Put B's. But down here, when you get to the bottom, it says number of colored males. Who told them when they reconstructed it to put black? B, 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 B. Number of colored males, 3.
So,
Number of what? Now over here, birthplace. This person was born in Russia,
how do we
Indiana.
forget?
Huh?
How did the mass population of our people forget their Indian heritage?
No, it wasn't that they forgot it. They were threatened, just like they did with the Pequots. The Pequots were threatened, and they had to say that they were black or they would get killed. And here in the north, and now they went after they finished here in the north. They had enough practice. Then they got greedy with the land. They had the land from Canada all the way to Iroquois, all the way to New York, Delaware, right? But then they got greedy. They wanted their land in the South. So this is why they did this shit. Because the South didn't need the North for anything. They ate off their land. They had their own livestock. So what did the North do? The Union troops from the North, what did they do? Look at, blocked up all their ports so they couldn't do business with nobody. That's what Scott's snake was. In the South, they blocked all the ports off in the South. That's why they called it Scott's Great Snake. And if you know what Scott's Great Snake is, because the Dutch Iroquois, the word Iroquois, because they was all niggas, they was Negroes. The Dutch called them Iroquois. Iroquois means black snakes. That's what Iroquois means. It's a French word. The French couldn't stand the Iroquois, and they called them Iroquois because Iroquois in French means black snakes. Look it up. I shit you not. Lolo Hunter, you got to turn on your camera for a minute. I got to make sure you're not.
How do I join the Wire tribe?
You can't. You're not eligible.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Really?
No.
See what I'm saying, man? Come
Okay.
on.
What 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 are you coming on here for, Lolo Cow Hunter? Are you coming to spare me with nasty um derogatory photos? Where are you from? All right, let me put up a banner to make sure that you're not somebody coming up to put mean things. Hold up. All right. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk.
Okay, what's up?
So they're saying in your chat basically that you make great arguments, but you ignore some of the facts and documentation.
Okay, so can you be a little bit more specific
If
with
you know that they're
That's
Indian,
the
find your ancestral land, reclaim it, and get on board with the change that is occurring.
wait,
They was
wait, wait.
talking to me.
Say that again. Wait, say that again.
They say that they already know the Indian land or whatever. You find the ancestral land and you reclaim it and get on board with the change that is occurring.
Okay.
Hold on, Sister Betty. Before we go there,
Uh-huh.
I got a problem with why are you telling me I'm not eligible to join the Wire tribe?
Because you're Pan African.
I can't be both. I can't be.
No, you have to stand on who you are.
All right. So I was
Why
born.
can't he be Pan-African? What's to stop him from doing that?
You can only be a color.
I can't be an Indian
You
and a.
can only be an aboriginal to the North American landmass, and you must be.
All right, Sister Betty. I was born in Tennessee. What tribe do you think I'm most likely from?
More than likely, you're a Cherokee,
Cherokee. Okay.
but you're running around in YouTube saying that you're African. And plus, I can't let you in my tribe. The chiefs will kill you
Why?
because you're crazy.
What?
Maybe I'm waking up. Maybe I'm waking up. You know what I'm saying? Maybe.
Well, you got to do a little bit more waking up. I can't imagine it. Probably bury you in our land in a tree somewhere. You're too crazy.
All right. Tell me how I can definitely find out if I'm Cherokee or not. What do I got to do?
Okay. Let's say your ancestors lived here, because this is Tennessee. And all this was Indian land, except that little green spot in the far right corner. That's all we sold to the settlers.
Yeah.
And your ancestors was living on this land, in this territorial land of Indian, because all this was Cherokee land. The Cherokee chief sold the settlers that little green spot of land to live, and they sold it to them. So now let me show you what happens. If your ancestors was living here in this area in 1770, you're an Indian. The only way you're going to live in that land, you had to be that Indian, because that was Indian land in Tennessee. It was
What?
all owned by the Cherokee. All that land and all that orange. You see at the bottom, Indian land, settlers land, treaty land. When you see treaty land, it's green. I mean, they sold it to a foreigner.
Yeah, but he's still Indian even if they conquered it or didn't pay him. That doesn't change it.
Right. He would still be Indian, of course.
Well, then I don't get what the point is. Like,
Okay, here's the point. Here's
Betty.
the point. Wait, I want to explain it to this young man. I'm not disputing that he's not Indian. I'm saying even if they did sold the land, it just gives more proof to your family that you were pushed off that land once it was sold. Well, now that it's orange, right? And you're living there, you're that Indian, you're a Cherokee.
yeah, but
Now,
everyone was forced out of their homes.
right. It took time though. It took time gradually, like I'm going to show you.
Yeah, but
First,
I just don't get the point like you're trying to make, because every Indian was pushed out of
if
their
you
homes.
okay, if you listen, young man, you're not listening, young man. You gotta listen, honey. Now listen to me again. All the orange was Indian land. They begin selling it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when they sold it, or when settlers came in to settle to start making it their permanent place, they begin moving. So we'll move to slide number 2. Now, you know that this part on the top that was blue, see it's blue now? You know it was green. I mean orange just a minute ago. Look,
Yes.
it was orange.
And then they
Now,
settled in.
right now, when it turns, and there were Indians that lived there, right? And then settlers came in. If you were living in this land before it turned blue, you were pushed off that land because the settlers came in there and pushed you off. I'm not saying that you're not an Indian now. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that's your proof that you were forced off your land because it was sold by your chief to settlers. The chief allowed the settlers to come in there
Yeah,
and
but
settle.
you said for some reason he's not allowed in your tribe.
Right, in my tribe. My tribe. Yeah, I'm not a Tennessee
Up
tribe.
right there, man. That's messed up.
I'm denying him because
I just don't get it. Why are you doing that to
I'm
him?
trying to come back to my
I'm
Aboriginal
not
roots.
letting Lex in.
Come on,
Locale is
Beth.
because Lex
Isn't that a
starts.
little gatekeeping? Like, that's kind of messed
Yeah,
up.
I have to be safe for my members because Lex is a troublemaker. He flip flops and he does mean things, and he doesn't listen
mean.
to
Come
people.
on, Sister Bethy.
He doesn't listen to people.
I'm listening to you. I'm saying that I might join.
Right now he's listening, but Lex starts fights and everything. So I have to make sure that I don't let nobody that's crazy in the tribe. There's other tribes he can go join.
He's
Wow.
not crazy.
Wow.
Lex is a troublemaker.
You're hurting my feelings, man. That's messed up, man.
And all the members in the tribe will probably get together and jump him because he creates so much problems.
He's
He
a
starts-
grown man. He's not a troublemaker.
Yes, he is. He makes trouble.
How's a
He'll come
grown
in
man
the
a
tribe.
troublemaker?
Because we
Wait,
had
I tell you what he do.
disagreement.
On our first tribe meeting, he'll be in there in our first tribe meeting saying, "You need to connect with Africans," and
Hold
nobody
on.
wants
So,
to hear
Sister
that.
Bethy, are you saying that Indians should not? So, are Africans our enemies?
I'm not saying there are enemies.
So,
I'm
what's
saying
wrong with
I'm
connecting?
saying we need to stick together as Indians
Oh,
and
I get that.
and,
But
and be something.
all right,
But
what I'm asking,
not you. You need to go in another group that likes being around
hold
you.
on, Sister Bethy, are you saying that you're gonna live in the world and you're not gonna deal with other people?
I got enough of my own. We've been separated.
What?
Wait, let me tell you something. We've been separated for so long as a people. We got to learn how to love each other again. So my tribe, we all love each other.
Yeah,
And
but how's it loving to not let him join?
Okay, you're not listening to me. Lex has pre-existing conditions. He has very bad.
He never said that, bro.
Yes.
Yes,
Bethy,
Lex has pre-existing
wow.
conditions. He has very bad behavior. So we already got a snapshot of what life would be like letting Lex be a part of us.
I'm
So
getting
we're
better
saying
though.
no in advance
I'm
that
waking up.
okay, you're still not woke enough for me. You're a
What?
flip flopper and you like to be nice. And then you go, then after that, he switches up and start talking this African stuff that we know absolutely nothing about and we have nothing to do with.
Man, you really believe that? I was just playing, I was just being a double agent to spy on the Pan-Africans. I keep telling y'all that.
Yeah, okay. See how he's doing? And tomorrow he'll be over there friends with Say Netta and all of them.
He said he's a double
Africans.
agent. He's just
Oh,
spying,
good.
bro.
I'm glad. Here comes truth. See, here come the real truth. I
He's
got some
really
protection.
true. He seems normal. You just called him like mentally ill.
Hey, cornball man, chill for a second, bro. You don't dictate shit. What up, Lex? I
What
like
up?
Lex. Lex cool, but if she say he can't join the tribe, he can't join the tribe, bro.
No, this is
Like,
messed
No.
up,
I
man.
mean, real talk, bro. You sound like a real cornball. I want to enjoy my fucking beef
Cornball.
ribs and shit. But your corny ass up here pissing me the fuck off. Like, what's up? Hey, sister Betty, how you doing?
Hey, honey. What's
Mm,
up, True?
mm. Nothing. I wouldn't let Lex in either. Shit, he
See,
cool.
I'm
We
not.
can kick it.
See,
Damn.
I'm not the only person. So now you see, though, it's not
Damn.
just
So I
me.
can't come back to the Aboriginal community, man. What's going
You can come
on?
to the barbecue though, bro. You can get some chicken.
Nah, damn. I guess I might as well. Hey, I guess I might as well be an African then. I can't even join my people no more, man. That's messed up.
You did a lot of damage to us.
No, I didn't. I
Oh, yes, you did. You caused a lot of
I
controversy.
I might I didn't do no damage, but I was a big part of building this community.
I wasn't around when you was building. I was around when you were destroying. That's when I came in.
No, we just had disagreements. I never destroyed nothing.
You did. I seen you fight on Chief Holiday Channel. Every every Indian channel I seen you go on, you fought. Every channel I seen
Well,
you
you
on
know,
Top Cat. I
wild
seen
Indians
you.
are very aggressive, so they be picking with me most of the time. I be cool.
I seen you argue with um Empress Holder had to put you. Empress Holder had to put you in place. Every channel in YouTube.
I mean, that's just disagreements. I haven't damaged the Aboriginal community
Oh
though.
no, I
Nothing.
seen you call girls some really bad names when you had some fights, and I said that's coming out of Lex mouth. You called this lady a B. You flipped out on our brother Sanchez channel. Who was that girl? You was calling her bees and everything.
I don't know. Some women be out of control. Come on, you.
Damn, Lex, that's crazy, man. I know your mama raised you
We
better than
got
that.
women in our tribe and men, but the women, if you speak like that, we
Have
got
I ever
women from
called
the
you that,
north.
Bethy? Have I ever did anything
No, but if you did, the
because
women
you're a
in my
lady?
tribe.
Ever give me? Though some women are way out of line, and we come on, we know that.
I
I never.
didn't hear that lady didn't call you no name. You call her really bad names. You was like you be this and really bad. That was a horrible. That was the worst I ever seen you argue before, Lex.
I
And
may have.
I've seen you had some really bad arguments, but that one with that woman, that was I don't know if she was an ex girlfriend or
Oh,
what,
you
but
talking about? Oh, I know you talking about. You heard that was. That woman went around spreading a rumor that I had AIDS.
oh
Yeah,
no, I didn't know that.
yeah. So
Oh,
now
who
do you
was
see?
she? Where was she
That was
from? Is she
Nepal. That was Nepal from the HOK.
that's Sinetta's wife?
Yeah. So
You
you
were
still
calling her those bad names like that?
think I
That
should
lady?
call her a
I
bitch?
ain't gonna lie, sister Bethy. If somebody run around the motherfucker talking about I got AIDS on some rumor shit,
Yeah.
I'd have called her a couple of them B words too.
That
Couple of
okay. I didn't know that was the case. I thought it was a debate argument about what we dialogue about on YouTube. I didn't know it was something to do with personal, false personal stuff.
Yeah. So that was a whole different level. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I've never seen you that upset, and I didn't know what the argument was for. But I came in on the yelling, the real heavy fight that you were having with her, and I was like, "Whoa! I've never seen you that upset before. I've seen you upset, you know, but not like that. That was just like horrifying. I never seen you that upset.
yeah, I might have say
That's a bad thing for someone to say about you, though. Yeah. But Sonetta, I almost wanted to cry when he was telling his story. People were saying that he had it, and people were still in the audience saying it as he was explaining that no, I have lupus. And there was a guy in the audience saying, I'm the medicine man. It's the same thing as A. I'm like, oh God, that was just horrible. I felt really bad for him.
well, that was a little different because he took initial tests that they said he tested positive for, then it changed.
Right.
So that was a little different. But I'm joining the Wyatt tribe. I'm joining the Wyatt tribe.
Mm-mm. No, you're not. I'm denying you on right now. If I bring you in a meeting and our tribe, man, they will flip out.
You got to prove a recent close ancestor part of the tribe.
A recent close.
Our doors
Yeah,
are
you got to do your
closed.
genealogy first, bro.
Oh God, don't tell them that because the doors are only open to people that are already members, and I hope he's not related to nobody in why.
God damn, that's crazy.
Could you imagine? Oh God, what if it's me? He find and I have an ancestor and we that would be awful.
So I need to redo. I'm gonna do my another complete genealogy. Can you help me out with that, Sister Betty?
You have to schedule an appointment. I can't help you with that. You got to schedule an
You
appointment.
can do all
And
that
we'll do it
online now.
in Zoom. Yeah, I do. I got an appointment tomorrow, as a matter of fact, at 12.
You mean you can get all the records online?
Mm-hmm. You could order them from your state. You sure can. The
And
official records.
how do they
You
do that?
can.
How
Yeah,
do they?
you go on their site and you request it, or you request it and they'll mail it to you.
You request what?
Like birth certificates, death certificates. If you want your ancestors' official army record that you pull, you just the copy that's online gives you the number, and you could call up the military and get a copy of their the exact same record you got, but you can get the
Uh,
official one with the seal on it from a state or municipality. But
what's
if you
what department do I get those?
most of them genealogy department.
Where
That's
is that?
it's usually in the state libraries. Every state has a library.
Uh-huh.
And you could get it, you could walk into the state library and print those documents and you can get them notarized. You can get a census sheet notarized. Literally. Yeah.
So I can go into the library and start requesting like my great grandfather's birth certificate.
Yep. But you have to go in Tennessee.
Right.
Right. But you can do that online too. Request it online. They're going to ask you to send copies of your proof of lineage relationship, which would be your birth certificate leading you to him
Okay.
or her. And once you do that, hey baby, where you going?
What happened
And,
to the corny dude? Where you go?
and how far was you able to go back, Sister Betsy?
Me, I got back to 18 1837.
And who was
1837.
your father or grandmother?
My grandfather
And
and my grandmother on the
what was
grandmother's
their
side.
status on the birth certificate?
What do you mean?
What were they listed as?
Colored.
Okay.
Colored.
And so if
Colored.
it says colored, you're saying that that means you was an Indian?
All Indians were colored. All Indians were classified as colored. But back then they were already colored. Walter Plecker just made it an official policy that all Indians are colored in 1924. But back then they were calling them coloreds. That's why you had the colored infantry troops. Like
What were they
I
calling
just
the
had it
African?
out. Never called them an African. Look, I'm about to show you right here.
No, he said, what was they calling the Africans?
There were no Africans here. That's what I keep trying to tell you.
There were no Africans here.
Not during that time. No, they took you got to understand what this government did, man. They threatened them. You could not be called. You could not identify who you were or you would get killed or hung.
So no Africans came to Virginia in 1619?
20. It shows only 20. 20
That was
odd.
actually up out of the West Indies. That shit ain't come from Africa.
Exactly.
And now they
Look
ain't
at
say no African. It said,
Look at this military record. This is the 33rd colored US colored troops. That's what USCT stands for. United States Colored Troops. This guy is a colored troop for the 33rd Regiment, United States Colored Infantry. This is in 1865 in Savannah, Georgia. And when did he enlisted? April 17th, 1865. They gave a description of him. His eyes were
What?
black.
What?
His hair was
For the
black.
Civil War?
Yeah, that would be the Civil War. Yep. Because the Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865. Yeah. And he enlisted himself on,
So what does that mean? The fact that he was in the military.
he was fighting for the way to keep things the way they were in the South, for the agricultural lifestyle, because that was the South's lifestyle. They weren't in industrialization.
So it
It
wasn't
was agricultural.
slaves.
Huh?
So it wasn't about slavery.
We were enslaving our own families. Our own families worked on the farms. Now, if you go to the census sheet, it shows you. Let me show you. As a matter of fact, I got one up. Okay, here's the 1860 census, and they were all on farms. Let me see, blacks. They were all on farms.
Somebody says they got back to 1500s in the chat. I would like to see that.
Me too, because I like to know what record that was.
In the 1500s.
I laugh. Look, see right here. These are all, they put these people as black. But look, that is under here, when you touch it, it says race white. There ain't no white.
So do you know the original tribe that you was a part of?
My family was definitely, and Cherokee, Yamasee, they was all through South Carolina in different areas. It depends on what side you're like really asking. My family is Cherokee. They're a Catawba area, all in like the 1830s and 60s. They was in those territories. In Bennettsville, they were in Dillon, South Carolina, all South Carolina areas. Beaufort, Abbeville, York, in all those areas.
So do you think ultimately the Indians will eventually get the land back from just get the United, all this land in North America back?
I would hope so. I think it's the fair thing to do, because considering what happened to us being pushed off and forced into the inner cities, that was the worst thing this government could have done to us. We were literally, a lot of us were maliciously forced. When I say maliciously, the militia, when settlers came and bought our lands, we had to get out. If a municipality sold our land, and we could be living right on that land and could have been there for thousands and thousands of years. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
if a chief sold that land, they didn't even tell you. All next thing you knew, you knocked on the door, because they changed the system and the way how the land was going to be managed. The government did. It was no longer you were able, Indians were freely in their areas and just in their area. And the government changed the way the land was going to be managed. So if someone bought some land next to you, right, and their surveyor extended it, and your property was included in their surveillance of the amount of land they bought, they knock on your door and give you 24 hours to get out, because they had the proof from the municipality that they bought the land, and you had to get out. That's how they was doing it. That's why you see these. Look, like once these settlers came and got this land, this is what you would see. Shit like this. Negroes leave. They would put up signs saying you got to get out. And here, yeah. And Shit like this. Negroes warned to leave Cotter. They had 24 hours to leave. That's what they was doing. And you didn't know. Somebody just come knock on your door. You got 24 hours to get out, and it would be the military with right behind them because somebody else bought the land. Yep.
Wow. So what we gonna do with all these
Government.
foreigners? They're gonna have to leave.
Look, I don't care about foreigners being here. I don't. That to me, I rather just have my land that was taken away from my family back and live in it. I don't care who else live here. That's why so many of us lived in horrible conditions in the inner cities. We should be able to live back on our land. That's the least they could do. Give us back our lands. If our families had 100 acres and you just took it by this government, that was a malicious thing to do. And you made them get off, give us back our land. We would have never lived in inhumane conditions if it wasn't for this government enforcing us off our lands.
So
We
you think
would be,
they have passion
we
for
would,
that?
huh?
You think they're gonna right their wrongs?
I would hope so. They're letting foreigners that are not to this part of this land come in here and live off our tax dollars. Don't you think that's ugly? An ugly thing to do?
Yeah, but if they're doing it, they know what they're doing, and that means they don't have no intentions of not doing it.
Correct.
So now you have a problem. It's a confrontation.
I don't know. I see the Africans ain't taking their shit. They kicked the French out.
Yeah.
They literally kicked them out of their country and said goodbye. And Putin backed them up.
Happening more than one place. Africa's rising up right now.
Yeah. Still don't make me want to go there. I don't know nobody over here. All I know, here's what I know. All I know is I culturally was raised in Iroquois territory. I am very culturally Iroquois. I've been in their territory all my life. Even though my family is from the South, all my life I've been in Iroquois and culturally and you know adopted Iroquois culture. That's where I live in Iroquois territory.
Yeah.
And we've been in Iroquois territory since the 1930s. That's when my family had to leave off their land in the South. They had to get out. And they came here north. And we've been here ever since. Since the 1930s, we've been in Iroquois territory. And I was born into the Iroquois cultural way of life. See, if I'm in the South, I'm not in the Iroquois culture of life. I'm in the North. I am. I've been raised here and molded in the Iroquois way.
Yeah. Somebody said they have no choice but to give the land back. That's a heavy.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think they ever gonna just give. I mean, look at the French. They don't even want to leave
I
certain
know they don't want to leave. I
The
know they don't want to
I don't
leave.
know if it would be in someone's best interest to just give the land back and impoverish themselves.
I think they should do us right and give us our land back. Look what they did to our men. They made it very difficult for our men to take care of their families only because our men did not want to transition into mainstream white society's ways. Can you blame them? It's not fair. That's just like us going over in their European countries and making them transition to act like hood Negroes, wild Indians. They won't want to do that, but they impose their lifestyle on us, on our men. And our Indian men was like, no. A lot of our men from the South, they're like, hell no. That's why they went out. They didn't go out without a bang. the
Yeah.
Confederate soldiers. My grandfather was a Confederate soldier. He was in the colored infantry in the South. And he fought against
So you
the
think it
way
would
the aircraft
be better
wanted
if
it.
the North never won?
If the North never won,
If the South, if the Confederacy would have won, it would have been better for our people.
I have to say no, just based on the lifestyle. I mean, they won because there's a lot of people in the South that assisted the Union soldiers in getting out of those long time servitude contracts, them lifetime servitude contracts. So a lot of our ancestors from the South fought on the side of the Union soldiers. And those that did, what did they do to them?
I don't know what they do. Killed them.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was a horrible war. The Civil War was a very horrible war. The South was tough. It wasn't easy to beat the South. It
So,
was not easy for the
so what was
Union
the white
soldiers to beat
settlers
the
fighting
South.
for?
Huh?
So the Indians and the white settlers were fighting for the same thing.
Yeah, a lot of white Confederate soldiers, they were sharecroppers too. And they fought against the Union soldiers. It was the ones that was pretty much in the lifetime contracts, lifetime slavery
Hmm. Wow.
that fought with the Union Confederates from the North. So when Andrew Jackson, before he marched down there, this is 1812, before the Civil War, they had already been in contact with the North to stop the shit that was going on in the South. I mean, look at it. The Tuscarora tribe, right? Truth, they joined the Iroquois. They was the last tribe to join the Iroquois Confederacy, and they're from the South. That was the only tribe that actually joined the Iroquois Confederacy from the South was the Tuscarora Indians. And I think with them doing that, the North was able to get a better understanding of the conditions in the South that was going on with people. I mean, I don't know how our ancestors did it, working out in the agriculture lifestyle, because we had our powwow in South Carolina and I couldn't last standing out there for 10 minutes. I had to get back in my truck and turn my AC on. I don't know how they did it and not have strokes. You truth. Oh, he must have stepped away. Your mic muted if you're talking. I don't know how our ancestors work like that. Perhaps I'm lazy in the north. Again, I was raised in this
Yeah, they was
culture.
probably used to the heat, you know.
Oh my God, I couldn't breathe. We was outside in the middle of, it's like a damn desert out there. And I don't know how our ancestors worked in them fields. All it was farmland out there where we were at. They were growing tobacco. And I don't know how our ancestors survived outside working from sunset to sundown in those conditions.
And their own families was doing this to them.
Yeah, they worked. It was an agricultural lifestyle. Like you literally lived on the farm. Look, let me show you a census sheet, for example. So you sometimes when you see things, you see it better. When let me see. If I could find something here. Let me see if I can find something to show you what I mean. Oh, I know. You know what? Let me go to this one. I think this one will do it. I should be able to find something. Oh yeah, I do got something. Um, I do have something.
So do you think we should get back to ever get back to learning Indian languages?
I think so. I think we're actually speaking it, to be honest with you. Okay, so here's a census. Maybe I should get an older one. Yeah, let me get an older one. An earlier one. Rather, must I say. Oh yeah, here we go. Share screen. Okay, you see this? This is in 1880. Husband, wife, and these are all the kids. They were farmland. It was their farmland. They worked on their own farmland. See, they're farmers, farmland. They lived, their home was a farm. They lived on, literally lived on the farm.
Do we have anything like that before the Emancipation Proclamation or before the Civil War?
That's how they lived. That was this life in the South, period, point blank. Even in the North, it was like that. It was agricultural. But the North are the ones who brought the industrialization lifestyle, taking people off the farmlands. They went from agricultural to industrialization. It started in the North, not the South.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always in the South, it was like that. You just lived on your land freely and you farmed. You had your own livestock. You grew your own vegetables. There really wasn't no grocery stores needed because
Do,
everybody lived off their land and they traded with each other.
is war an option for Indians to take their land back?
I don't want to see a war. I don't want to see a war. I never speak about on warring terms. I don't want to see a war. I think about my family and my grandkids being assassinated with bombs, and I it's just awful. It's something I don't want to see. I think it should be handled in a civil manner. I believe in my heart, and I know in my heart that the descendants of the people who did this whole ugly thing over here are aware of what their ancestors did. And I really believe that a lot of them really want to rectify the issue. But what the problem is they're now trying to correct, like, well, wait a minute, we didn't do this to Africans in North America. They didn't. They literally didn't. This didn't happen to Africans in North America. It happened to Indians all across this landmass. Whoever they had to take land from, obviously, it had to be an Indian. If you took the land from them, it was an Indian. It wasn't an African. So if you took land from people in the South, you took it from an Indian. You didn't take it from an African. Africans are in their own landmass. So they made that story to try and wipe away your history by creating a story for you that you were brought here. You were not brought here. No one ever in our community ever identified as African. The only time you begin hearing African is when the Kuta Kinte movie came out. There was no talks of Africans. When they enslaved us, we became coloreds and Negroes, not Africans. No census sheet identifies us as Africans. No marriage certificates or birth certificates or death certificates racially documented us as Africans. It was either colored or Negro. It started off with colored, and then it changed. By the time it got to my mom, it was Negro
When do you
because
think?
now it,
When do you
huh?
think they like? How did they? You think they got together and decided that they was gonna make up this story?
Oh yeah, but it was with the help of our people. It was an agenda. It was with the help by the help of our own people, the Masons. You got the Jesse Jacksons, you got the Al Sharptons. It's all done
Talk about
through
back when all of this was first starting.
when it first
When
started.
I was
Yes,
telling the slave trade story, you think some
you
white
can hit him. Truth, you can hit him on that. Truth. I'm mute.
I'm just saying
Truth.
they got together and was like, man, we got to make up a story and to get these people off the land and disconnect them. And there was like some white people in the room, and they was like, what we gonna do is tell them that they came over here from Africa.
That happened during it all started the wiping away and forgetting about the past began when they began teaching the Indians about Christianity. That's when it all started, right there. The indoctrinated started when they began teaching the Indians about Christianity. Yep.
Mm,
We didn't practice Christianity here as Indians. We did spirituality. And when the Europeans came here and they saw the way that how we, um, what our mechanism was, which was spirituality. We believe in the earth and the stars, everything natural. And we believe in that's what they call the way that we worship bad and not good and evil and wicked. Everything about the way we worship, like our rain dance, everything was bad. And we needed to become Christians because it was good, like voodoo or whatever we practice.
do you believe that we look like Africans?
I believe we have their features. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't go and say that we're not related billion, thousands and thousands of years ago, but we literally are from this soil here. And oftentimes, I personally believe that we kicked a lot of people out of here and over there. I believe the way Dane teaches the story, that history was told in reverse. We did take people out of here and brought them to um Africa. We did do that.
Mm,
The colonization society, a lot of our people, a lot of Indians did leave and go to Africa. Some what is it, Siberia, something like that. But that was it. That wasn't us going back home. That was us going there. They went and colonized. It was a white guy that started that whole thing up, right? If I'm not mistaken. And a lot of our people went there, but then a lot came back too. And you also have to remember what they did to the Indians in the North when they took their land from the Pequots and all the other Indians and shit. They took them and put them in Barbados and the British Islands over there to cultivate those lands and work on the sugarcane fields. That's what they did a lot of the Pequots. They took them to Canada, Nova Scotia, Jamaica. All they took them there.
mm.
And they did that to a lot of us in the South too. They took us and put us in the sugarcane fields, British Islands. They did it. They moved us around, and like a lot of the Pequots that stayed on the mainland, they became servants in households, and that's documented. They did the same. They had enough practice in the North on the Northern Indians,
Man, that's it.
and they did the same thing to the South, the Indians in the South.
Yeah, that's a tragedy. That's a tragedy.
I mean, it was horrible. It was horrible. The Indian wars in the North was just horrible. Those goddamn Pequots, they didn't take no shit.
I don't think
It was
I don't
like cutting
think
people's heads off and stuff.
I don't think we can get around war.
Well,
I
I'm
don't.
certainly not promoting war. I'm not promoting war at all. I don't want war. I don't want war.
Yeah, war is ugly, but I don't know if there's any other way to truly get the land back nicely. They're not nice.
Well, I'm certainly not promoting war. I really believe that there's a a civil way to handle this as to what was done to us. I I don't believe that these brown men that look like us here in YouTube communities that are claiming to be Pan Africans, they're never ever getting reparations because number one, you know, United States didn't do this to Africans here in on the mainland. They did it to the Indians. And that's my fight. I'm not putting up with saying that you did it to me. You snatched my family out of Africa and brought them here to enslave. I can't prove that because all the government records that this government has on my family in the South show that they lived on their own farms. So if they lived on their own farms at a time they were told to be brought here, it's a lie. The records from the government show differently. They were maintaining their own farmlands in the South. Now they were kicked off, yes, but they didn't grab them from Africa. It's not possible. How could they have grabbed my family from Africa and we own huge ass farmlands with livestock in the South? The
Mm.
more the story I could prove, I can't prove they took me off a ship from Africa and snatched me and brought me here. What did they do? Snatch me from Africa, bring me to here, and give me a big ass farmland. It doesn't make any sense.
Mm.
What makes more sense and what I could prove happened is my family lived on their own farms in the South and they were removed, forcefully removed from it. Because I have the census sheet say, hey, we were here. Here's our farmland. Here's where we lived.
So this
Now
is
we have to get out.
if this is true, it's the biggest secret on earth.
What happened to us has always been a secret.
Yeah, I mean that's the
We
big.
were told that we had to say that we were Negro. Remember that video Dane showed? I was almost wanting to make me cry with that little cute little brown boy, and the teacher said, "I'll give you $1," and he was telling him to say, "Are you black?" He said, "I'm a Negro." They had to teach them to say that they were Negroes, not Indians, but they had to. You saw that video?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh God, that was heartbreaking for me, and it made me want to cry because that's literally one of our ancestors. You
Mm.
got to see it. And the teacher was a teacher that looked like me. He taught the little boy. He had to teach him how to say that he was a Negro, and he tried to um, bribe him by giving him money. And he was like, "No, I'm a Negro." It was just so sad,
Wow.
so sad.
Yeah.
And see, my grandmother, my great grandmother, they didn't go to school. They went to church. Their school was church. It was called Sunday school. They
Yeah.
didn't go to school. And then from there, they had the Indian schools that they went to, which became the public school systems.
So when do you think though the Native Americans got here?
That you have to ask Chief Holiday, and
Okay.
that's a question Chief Holiday can answer. And no, he's really good at that. Chief Holiday is really good at educating on the Native Americans. I'm not. Chief Holiday, who else? I think A1 too, but Chief breaks that shit down. Chief Holiday is very good.
Man, that's really a sad thing, man. That a people's whole identity was just stolen. That's a
Yeah. Terrible. It's
that's
terrible.
that's genocide.
It is paper, by all means.
Yeah, that's like international. That's an international court case. That's like United Nations human rights type stuff.
Yeah. Add power too. I forgot to answer that too. Add power. Add power A1 and Chief. Chief actually really recently broke that down. He do this. He's really good.
You know, I every black person I know, whether they might not have well, I wouldn't say everyone, but most black people you know would always say that they had Indian in their family. You know what I mean? Maybe they didn't know, but they would at least say we had Indian in the family. I know my family always spoke uh about my great grandmother being a Cherokee Indian.
Well, when we were little in the 70s, I tell the same story and I'm sticking to it. And anybody in my family that be in the chat, we watched the movie Roots when we were little. And we cried when they caught Kuta Kinte in the chains and the net, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when our grandmother checked us at the door and she said, "You're not Africans, you're Indians." That's when we learned. But she didn't go any further than that. And that same story is like across the states. Everybody's granny told them that they were Indian. Yep.
You know what's interesting is that most of the people that have the Aboriginal Indian awareness are from the South.
Say that again.
Most of the people that know they're Indians, what we call black people,
Hmm.
it's from the South. I mean,
Absolutely.
so the people up north are not as aware of this stuff, right?
Oh yeah, they are now, but not. They knew it coming from the south because there is a huge migration from the south to the north. But to keep it very real, in the 70s, when I was little, to call someone black or African was war. They really broke out in really bad fights when we were little. If you caught someone black, and that's the honest truth. Dudes would snatch their shirts off. That was very Indian in the north. They would snatch their shirts off and get ready to fight. That's how they did it in the 70s. To call someone black or African, those were fighting words.
Mm.
And to so because they placed that stigma on us, mainstream white society, you had people like James Brown to help us to like that, to deal with what we were labeled with being black. That's why he came out with the song Say It Loud. I'm black and I'm proud. And people think that he made that song so that you can, and James Brown's Indian. He's Creek from Georgia, but he made that song to build our confidence up because by that, them calling us that, they already ripped us from who we were, stripped us. So to make a song, Say It Loud, I'm black and I'm proud, was to help build you and instill encouragement in you because you were ripped of your identity. So we knew we couldn't
But
be.
I just want to
Yeah.
add, there's some Indians that believe that the Bible is actually an Indian that was like here in America first. You know what I'm saying? That's really those early stories were happening in America, and the Indians were the chosen Hebrews. Do you buy that?
I, you know, I can't.
It does follow the now. You know, when you read the Bible, it talks
I
about these people that came into somebody else's land and took over their land, and that definitely happened here. So I don't know. I guess it's the similar story.
yeah, a lot of our brothers have um took on the customs of being Hebrew Israelites, and I really don't knock them. It's just I could say I've been arrogant to them because of the clothes that they chose to wear in New York, but I can't say that um this could have very well been Egypt. I can't say that it ain't because I didn't honestly do any research. And if I'm gonna say that this is Egypt, which they believe, if I'm gonna say this is Egypt, I only have one source that tells me that at this point, and that is the Bible. There's no other source outside of it that says that this is Egypt. The only source that says it is the Bible. So, I mean, if I look at it now from this point when it comes to the Hebrew Israelites, if that's something that's going to keep them disciplined and they believe that this is Egypt, then I say leave them alone. If it's going to something that's going to stop them from killing each other, and that's what they believe and stand on the Bible, okay, it's stopping them from
Yeah,
warring against each other. So I
yeah,
just say leave them alone at this point.
man. I wonder if all of this will ever be settled. Like the confusion. Will there ever just be some information that comes out that's just undeniable, or where because they have all these debates, and it just seems like there's all this gray area. No one absolutely knows. You know what I mean? There's got to be some information out there that just settles the whole matter. You know what I mean? Like it seems like we just don't know who we are. 'Cause, I mean, I know some people say, okay, we know we Indians, but then there's all type of ideologies and philosophy out here. You got the Moors. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's the thing. You can't get religion mixed up with who you are. You can't get religion. That's the one big thing. Like, if you're in the Nation of Islam or you're a Muslim, or those are religions, they're not races. And it's okay if our people decided to live those particular ways of life. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't knock it at all. Only thing I say is just don't forget who you are as a
what would you
person. You
say?
could be a Nation of Islam. You could be a Moor. You could be anything. Our people, wherever makes you, whatever is a good coping mechanism for you religiously, that's fine. Just understand that it doesn't take you away from being the Aboriginal to this North American landmass. I don't care what religion you go in. If you're Aboriginal, you're Aboriginal. You're an Aboriginal who decided to um, practice in the life of being a Muslim or a Nation of Islam or more. It doesn't mean that you're not an Aboriginal. It means that you just decided to and you feel comfortable in that religion. Just like with Christianity. Fine, practice Christianity, but practicing Christianity doesn't change your racial classification as a being. You are an Aboriginal to the land as you just decided and you love Christianity, and that's fine too.
What would you say is the most solid piece of information available that reveals our identity as Indians. If someone was to say to your sister, baby, what is the best source of evidence of our lineage here?
Our ancestors' death certificates that I clearly classifies us as coloreds and Negroes. The military records that classify our grandfathers as colored troops.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there's no history of our ancestors being classified as Africans, only a story that was conjured up by people in this society, foreigners, saying, oh, we brought them here on slave ships, but they brought no proof. And when they do show that they brought Africans here, they said they brought 20 of them, but they had Spanish names. I don't know any Africans with Spanish names. So I think our records, it clearly said, you know, what they did with the Indians. They reclassified them. And definitely our ancestors were coloreds and Negroes.
Okay.
And the precedent decision that the Pequot set, they clearly said we had to say we were black or we were going to get killed. And what
Hold up,
did they
where's that info? The Pequot said that they were.
Yeah,
they
you
had
didn't see the video. There's a whole write-up. Oh God, the Pequots said that they had to say they were black so that they could take their land.
Where's that at?
Okay, hang on, let me get it. Give me a minute. Let me play some music. I gotta go pull it up. I don't know where you've been, Lex. Give me a minute. I'll play a little music.
All right.
Because it's gonna take me a minute to pull that stuff up.
Shout out to the people out there, man. I hope everybody's well and the best of health out there. Stay strong in these trying times. Prepare for what's coming if it comes. Get your guns up and your bullets up just in case. More bullets than guns.
All right, let me find this document for you.
Yeah. These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guard, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then. We thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off. Told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew been on a tear since. The crowds was lower than the laughter now that I'm hearing. The praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us, it's never about who's your favorite. Took my insecurities and made my future more secure. The way we moving, it's like we really been here before. The proof is in the progress from the year before. Furthermore, we wanted to further things more. They took another route, so what you think we kings for? No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these rings for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting who you are and what you do it for. Doing less, doing more, it's really either or. Meet them halfway when one close, here go another door. Here go your dreams, what you running for? Head full of steam, cause you want it, huh? But it's in your genes, you was born a star. Yeah, damn, we done came far. The blessings soon pay off. I don't get a day off. Feel like the playoffs, they like, when y'all gon' take off? Dill got laid off, now we focused on trademarks. We just making hits after hits, no aid off. Now they wanna eat off the same plate that I ate off.
They really be brainwashed. I sold ain't for trade-offs. Listen to these verses, these the thoughts that I brainstorm. People do me wrong, but nowadays I just pray for them. I've been under pressure, you can't tell, cause I stay calm. I need peace and quiet, all I hear is the rain falls. Now all I see is green, like my name was Draymond. I so the brand, and you know we gon' rain on. Shout out to the fans from the jump that stayed on. Rolling every hour of the day till the pain gone. Now every time we drop, yeah, they know that is napalms. ISO.
Long live Ag.
Yeah.
ISO.
These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guard, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then. We thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off. Told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew been on a tear since the crowds was.
Okay, Lex, you want to read it for me?
If I can see it, I'm on my phone right now.
Oh,
But
God. You brown guys. All right. Why is my thing now over here? Wait a minute. All right. There you go. All right, go ahead and read it. Can you see it?
yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm just making it bigger on my screen. All right.
I'll give you the pleasure of reading it.
Pequot Indians share how they forced to pretend to be black for their safety and arrival. Listen
Look
to the
at
Pequot Indians share how they had to hide their family and become black.
no. I don't see nothing about black or family rather. They had to hide their what? Read it again.
Hide their Listen to the Pequot Indians share how they had to hide their identity and become black. They are the tribe that greeted and fought the pilgrims in mass. They are the tribe which owns Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut and who President Trump calls the Michael Jordan Indians because of their blackness.
And that's the end. Now read the top one, the Pequot, because you didn't read that right.
Pequot Indians share how they were forced to pretend to be black for their safety and survival.
And what did they hit? And we had to do the same thing. We had to become coloreds and Negroes, same thing. And they took our land.
Yeah, the Pequot always fascinated me because I know a lot of them were sent to the West Indies. So I
Yeah,
always
they were
what
sent to
happened to
Barbados, West Indians, all the British, and they were sent to Nova Scotia. They were sent to Canada. They were sent. Some of them stayed though, and some of them went into other tribes, like the Mohicans, enslaved them to. Yeah, the Mohicans enslaved them.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting because you got to ask, well, what happened to all those people over there? And most of them are still so-called black people.
yeah. It was horrible. It was very horrible, but I mean, if you look at it, that's why I have like some hope because it was a treaty written that the Pequots were wiped out their race identity and they were not to exist anymore. That was written in a treaty. And they were able to come back and reclaim their land. There was no war. And the United States gave them back their land in a part of um what is it? Naugatuck? No, not Naugatuck. Jesus. Where's Foxwoods Casinos up there? and Norwich.
Mm-hmm.
They got their land there. They got a reservation. It's beautiful. And they were able to get their land back. They have their own government and their state and federally recognized. And there was no war. They were able to get their land back. So that's why I remain a little hopeful because I use them as a model because the exact same thing that was done to them were done to us in the South as Indians.
Yeah. All right, Sister Bethy, I appreciate the information. I ain't gonna hold you much longer. I gotta get to some things, but yeah,
Wow,
thanks.
I had a conversation with Lex and we didn't fight.
Yeah, I'm trying to be nice so I can get in the Wyatt tribe.
You know, I'm denying you now. No. You want war. We don't want war. We want resolutions,
I hear that.
positive resolutions.
But peace to you. I appreciate it, man. You have a good night, madam.
Same to you. Oh my, I can't believe it's, oh my God, 11 o'clock now. I'm about to get out of here. Hey, Smoke. Hey, y'all, smash the like button. I'm about to get out of here, you guys. Nobody else is coming up. Hey, Smoke, you missed the whole segment. Mikey, who else is here? I am your mind. Um, he who enlightens. Nate said, Lex, take that information to heart, bro. um, who else is out here? D. Allen Warren, Christopher Creer. Oh, Free Papa TV. Nor did they know about the letter J, which is in the Choctaw writing system as well as Phoenician text. I didn't even see that conversation going on. I was so busy talking. Someone didn't know about Jehovah. Well, I'm going to get out of here, you guys. I'm like pretty pooped. I hope this segment was helpful for somebody, for us, for everyone, doing their genealogy. Genealogy is definitely key. It's what this government did to us. So you have to look at the documents that they literally did. I mean, what did they literally do to us? If we were in fact Africans, believe me, this government would have wrote our identity as Africans. Not once have they wrote in any documents about us or our ancestors as Africans. On our ancestors' history, it's coloreds and Negroes. That's it. That's it. Not African. If it was such a thing, they would have wrote it. I mean, when our ancestors registered for military services, they didn't register as Africans. They were colored troops, not African troops. Colored has nothing to do with African. And I think if our brothers that are claiming to be these Pan Africans and believing that white men dragged us in here on slave ships from Africa, the sooner they get that foolishness out their head and understand, say, oh, well, damn, man, there's literally nothing, even in the war records, nobody's being identified as African because it didn't happen to Africans here. And the sooner they wake up and understand who they are and think outside of indoctrination and heal up the bruise in their head, which is the indoctrinated story, the the their way of teaching with the two of theories and hypothesis. You got to get away with that. You got to begin to start using your own brain and thinking outside of the way you were taught. Their theories and their hypothesis is not good. We have natural ways of believing and understanding the truth. And it's not, I tell you, through hypothesis. And on that note, you guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I've been going at it for a minute and I'm pretty tired. So love you all. hit the like button, and I hope to see you soon again. I'm going to stay on you about them census sheets and seeing them for what they really are and what they're really saying to you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Yeah. Conscious. Matic. Alright, so far away I come from. I sit and wonder about the times that it made sense, but nowadays I don't worry about what's past tense. My younger days I used to hang around with mad friends. If we just fell out, I don't really know what happened. A lot of people come around and keep you stagnant, distraction. So you don't show them no compassion. We was really out here grinding, really rapping, stacking them Franklins, them Grants, and them Jacksons. Imagine if we would've never chased our passion. We probably would've never knew what happened. They was all just talk, we showed action. Once they leave, don't you let them back in. Just pack up all their stuff and send them packing. I'm blacking on anybody thinking they could act up with me. This vibe ain't for free, cause where I'm at in life, I'm only focused on me. Note the self, know yourself, focus on your health. They don't wanna help, then fuck it, do it by yourself. Don't give them no excuse to put you on the shelf. If it's me, myself, and I, then it's no one else. Yeah. Self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Practice what you preaching, but clearly they not practicing entitlement and